The affordable R2 rotary mixer from Headliner has done very well for the company since it launched back in 2023. But for some users, 2 channels was just not enough. Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx, and today we're looking at the R2's new big brother, the R4. I am going to keep this one fairly brief because so much about the R4 is identical to the smaller R2. In fact, I could quite easily summarise the whole thing right now. It's an R2 but with 2 extra channels. The R2 retails for $400 in the US and the R4 goes for $600, so you're basically paying $200 for those extra channels. That still makes it very affordable as rotaries go, and so it's a good choice for those who'd like to dip their toes into the rotary world without spending a ton of cash. And although it's distributed in lots of territories, it's especially handy in the US, as some of its competitors don't have distribution there. To give you a little more detail, all the main elements from the R2 still apply. It's built very nicely for the money with a folded steel panel covering the front, top and rear, and those removable wooden side panels. It has metal pots everywhere, all securely bolted to the faceplate, and the main pots are from Alps. The overall sound is decent, as are the phono preamps. It's not really comparable with higher end boutique rotaries in that area, but you shouldn't expect it to be at this price. It's definitely on a similar level to other entry-level models like the Omnitronic TRM402. Connectivity is also similar to the R2. There are separate master and booth outputs, both with balanced XLRs and unbalanced RCA connections, plus there's a record output also on RCAs. On the R4 you get 3 channels with both line and phono inputs, and channel 4 is switchable between line and a second mic input to complement the one with its own controls around the front. And it has an external twin rail power supply with a locking mini XLR connector, much more secure than a typical barrel plug. Now let's get to the demo. Right, so I'm going to very quickly run you through the functionality here on the R4. This is a very simple mixer, but that's, kind of the point, right? We've got the 4 main channels, all with these nice rotaries, big rotaries, smooth curve on those. There is a difference between here and here. It gives you that flexibility to just tease things in very gradually. What I like about this, actually, having played with a lot more rotaries since I played with the R2, these main rotaries are quite, not loose, but they don't have a lot of resistance to them. They're easy to just kind of work with. And I think for a beginner, someone who's getting into rotaries for the first time, maybe coming from, a lifetime of using fader mixers, that's quite nice because it means you don't have to immediately just jump into this very slow and deliberate mixing style. You can still give things a little whack in, And I kind of like that. I think there's something to be said for that. Like, you still can control it nice and gradually, but at the same time, you want to whack something in. You can do it. And so I think that feeling is kind of spot on for this kind of device. Moving up, we have the Q circuit, so we have individual Q buttons on each channel. We have a Q level, loads of headroom on there, Q master blend knob and a hardware split Q button, great. Everything you could want, plus both sizes of headphone jack on the front. Then we've got the EQs, which to my memory sound pretty much the same as they did on the R2, as do most things on this mixer. So we've got low, and then we've got this mid, which is pretty wide. It's got that kind of underwater effect when you cut it, because it's taking out quite a lot of frequencies. It's not a bad thing, it's just not, it's not normal. It's not the same as like, a DJM 900 or something like that. I quite like it. And again, when you boost it, you're boosting a lot of frequencies there. Like those upper mids as well, the lower mids. And then the top, the treble. You've got gain controls. It's not fully cutting out the channel, it's pretty wide amount of gain, boost and cut on there though. Up top we have our phono line switches for each channel, apart from the fourth one, which has the mic. Now I'm running into the mic on the fourth channel. And it is good that you've got two mics on this device. That's great, you know, if you're streaming and what have you. And I like having one as a channel, because not many of us out there, certainly I would imagine not many people who are buying this are going to be using all four channels at once. And so you will be able to make use of that channel, and it's just easily accessible. Turn yourself up and down if you're Twitch streaming or something like that. VU meters are just for the master again. There's no, you know, when you hit Q on something, it doesn't change over to the Q signal. So this is a mixer you're going to be using your ears for your levels, which is, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then we have the section which I, as with the R2 and with other affordable rotaries, would just prefer it didn't exist, but it is there. I'm going to talk about it. It's the filter. So here we go. Let's put the resonance in the middle and turn it on. And yeah, it pops, right? It pops. It is a really nice filter, again, as with the R2. It's lovely. You adjust the resonance there. Or make it more gradual, more gentle. Switch it to low pass. Again, adjust the resonance on it. It's a lovely, lovely filter. Proper analog filter. But for me, it's just the getting in and out of it is still not ideal. And if you were to leave, and as I've said before with other mixers like the R2, if you just left everything activated with a filter, I can't find a way to get the sound exactly right. So like when it's on, there's a difference there, you see? You can hear the hats come in more clearly. Hats are muffled. If I set it there, it's no, even worse. Set it there, we've got more of this kind of peak. Same with the high pass. If I turn it right off, okay. There's a bit more in the bass when I take the filter out. So you can't, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to keep the sound as nice and clean as possible, you can't just leave the filters activated. Getting in and out of them is a mission. Now, it is an effect that I might use if I was going to, let's say I was going to play an a cappella loop over something, or just play a vocal over a couple of tracks maybe. And this is more perhaps suitable in a 4-channel mixer setup. You know, I might want to play an a cappella on this channel here, in which case I might turn the filter on before I bring it in. And then we avoid the popping, and I've got access to the filter to do that layering. So I think it actually kind of makes a little bit more sense on a 4-channel than it does on a 2, because on a 2-channel, you're less likely to be doing things like that. But fundamentally, as I say, and this is not unique to this mixer or the R2, you know, analog rotaries, affordable ones, can't afford to have, for this kind of money, you know, expensive zero crossing switches and relays and all that kind of stuff. This is a nice simple analog mixer, and when you introduce a filter into that system at some point, there's going to be a bit of popping. So yeah, I'm not going to, you know, labour that too much. Overall, I just like with the R2, I'm just impressed with this as a nice, simple, straightforward analog mixer that does what it sets out to do, sounds decent, and is very, very playable. It has a great feel with those main rotaries, the big EQ pots. Doesn't feel cramped, it's spacious. Yeah, it's still a very impressive product, especially for the price. If I didn't feel duty bound to give you the demo portion of this video, it could have probably been done and dusted in about 2 minutes. The R4 is exactly like the R2, but with a couple of extra channels. That's no bad thing though. Even at the slightly higher price, it's still one of the most affordable rotary mixers on the market, and it absolutely holds its own against competing products in the same price bracket. So as with the R2, if you're looking for a way to dip your toes into the rotary world without breaking the bank, the R4 is an excellent choice. In the comments, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the R4, and I'd especially like to hear from those of you who bought the R2 and what you made of that. Thanks for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. I do hope you've enjoyed it or found it useful. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you've turned on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.